road test disqualifiers. These things will cause you to fail. If you don't know, I'm a state certified driving instructor. Let's go ahead and get into the sequence of things you need to know. Number one, if you exceed the speed limit, this is an automatic failure. Speeding is an automatic failure. It's also important to know driving too slow. You can also lose points because you're holding up the flow of the traffic. For this reason, we recommend familiarizing yourself with the speed limits in your area. If you live in a downtown area, your road tester is probably going to drive you in a downtown area. If you live in a suburban area, your road tester is probably going to be driving you in a suburban area. If you live in a rural area, your road tester is probably going to be driving you in a rural area. You need to be mindful of those things and be aware of the speed limits. Also remember that you can lose points for driving too fast for road conditions. If it's raining, heavy traffic, fog, many states and provinces have a basic speed law. And a basic speed law is this: you need to drive at a speed that is safe and reasonable for the conditions on the road. If you're driving faster, let's say there's heavy traffic, the speed limit is 55, but things are moving very slow. There are 1,000 cars on the freeway, but the freeway is designed for about 750. You could be going too fast for the conditions. Your road tester will note this, and if you continue that driving behavior, this could be grounds for failure or disqualification. Another example, if the road is icy or snowy, or on that test day, you've got to drive at a speed that is safe and reasonable. You need to adjust your speed according to the flow of the traffic. That can be tricky, and it does take experience. Never take your road test if you don't feel comfortable. That's what I would recommend as a driving instructor. Number two, failing to show caution at uncontrolled intersections. Let's go back to your driver's education class. If an intersection has stop signs at all four corners, that is a controlled intersection. Everyone has to stop. If an intersection has two stop signs, that is a partially controlled. And intersections with no stop signs or yield signs or any visible signs, those are uncontrolled. I can't tell you how many times I've seen students fail at very basic maneuvers. So when you're driving and practicing in your neighborhood, those right turns, making 4 to 8 right-hand turns, making 4 to 8 left-hand turns, yield, slow down, yield, look left, look right, look left, pause. Expect pedestrians to be walking across. Expect cars not to yield or not to stop. If you're not yielding or stopping and looking, you are dreaming and you're setting yourself up for failure. Failure to understand and comply dangerous intersections. So what does this mean? In your mind, when you're practicing and mentally getting ready for the test, practice when you come up to an intersection where there's controlled or uncontrolled, look left, look right, look left, pause, 1 to 5 seconds. Show that tester, I have control of the vehicle. And then when you show that tester, regardless, male or female, you show them you have control, your outcome will be more successful. And we are trying to pass the road test the first time. Let's continue. This is a lesser known test disqualification, but we do sometimes hear about it from disappointing customers because they blew a yield sign. They failed to stop completely for 3 seconds minimum, 1001, 1002, and 1003. You need to remain motionless. The car should come to a stop. You pause, you look, and then you proceed. If the road tester tells you to go right, you turn right. If the road tester tells you to go left, you go left. If they tell you to go straight, you go straight. They have a route to take you on. Okay, if this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. They have a route to take you on. This route would consist of residential, industrial, rural, merging on off the expressway. Those basic maneuvers are expected. You are expected to know those prior to coming to the test. We're not just going to come in and say, hey, I'm going to try to pass the test. Don't play that game because usually you will lose. Number 3, let's talk about rolling stops. This comes from careless practice. Me as an instructor, I'm teaching 14 to 50-year-olds. Stop signs are some of the most common areas of failure. We get lackadaisical. We don't care. You have to have a complete stop for 1001, 1002, 1003. I can't tell you how many times students, teens, adults, senior citizens come for a refresher drive and they do rolling stops. I know in my mind, they're going to fail the road test. I tell you this because I care. You look at my content because you care. I make this content because I care. It is in my DNA. I've been doing this 23 years. So I want to tell you this, and I hope you're listening. Do not do rolling stops where you kind of pause and then roll through the stop sign. Automatic failure. And if your local law enforcement officers are there at the corner, and a lot of times people in communities call because you or your friends or people who look like you are speeding through the neighborhood, blowing through yield signs, not stopping. People get tired of this. They have security cameras. They have Ring doorbells. Stores have cameras now. And if you blow a yield sign or stop sign and hit or kill someone, they're going to pull that footage. And they're going to say, yes, you didn't stop, but you said you did. So build those good habits from the beginning. That is extremely important that you build those good habits. So stop means stop. Stop doesn't mean rolling stop through. Stop doesn't mean let me peek and just inch through. Stop is complete stop. Your wheels must stop moving. Many experienced drivers are in the habit of coming to rolling stops, but this will cut out during the road test. Okay, your wheels need to also be still. It's also a critical part that you stop before the crosswalk. The crosswalk has 2 narrow white lines. I'll put together a link in the tutorial on that. The stop line is the big, thick white line. You have to stop at that line. What does that do? If I'm a pedestrian, I can walk past without having a bumper or a fender in my crosswalk. And if I'm a tester and I see you doing this, I'm going to mark you down twice. Once for rolling past the stop line, -1, and in a crosswalk, -2. And if my pedestrian has to walk around, you're potentially going to get 3 minuses in one maneuver. So you really have to think about that, and don't get sloppy in your driving, okay? Learn the correct habits from day one when you go into an organized, licensed driver's education program. Your instructor should be attention to detail. Hey, this is the stop line. Let's get out and take a look. It's the big, thick white line. I've taken my classes out. Here's the stop line. Stop behind the stop line. There's the crosswalk. And then sometimes we do experiments. We are there at an intersection for 5 or 7 minutes. We look, how many cars stop? Less than 30%. How many cars actually go past the stop line and protrude the intersection? About 40%. These numbers give you actual evidence to help you understand. You have to take pride in your driving, and those fundamentals are important. All instructors went through a driver's education program where we learned about the rules, the pavement markings, driver behavior, and as your instructor progresses through his or her involvement in driving education, those things are foundational elements that your instructor should be mentioning in a Kahoot, in a Quizlet, in a video, if not taking you out there onto the field so you can see it for yourself, because once you see it, you understand it, and that's really important. Next, if there are no lines or crosswalk, you must stop before the intersection. You have to stop before the intersection. You need to stop, turn your wheel slightly to the right. Here's another tip. I was driving a lot of beginning drivers yesterday. A lot of beginning drivers cut their turn short. And if you cut the turn short or overturn, you're going to go over the curb. You're going to knock down the stop sign. You're going to knock down the street sign. The car is going to go up over the lip of the curve, and you're going to be on the sidewalk. That is grounds for automatic failure. If you turn wide, you're going to be literally in the second lane of traffic, cutting off cars, and then here's what's going to happen. Listen, you're going to overturn the wheel, and you're literally going to go and hit the curb. Your instructor has to go over those foundational elements of driving. In my videos, I go over those foundational elements of driving. If your instructor is not teaching you, showing you, there are multiple ways to hold a steering wheel. There's 9 and 3. There's 10 and 2. There's 7 and 5. AAA said 7 and 5 is the best way. We know there are airbags in the middle. We're not trying to blow our thumbs off. We're not trying to cross our hands. But when you're making right turns, parallel parking, hand over hand is the preferred method. Right around your second or third drive. If your instructor is working on proper hand placement, hand over hand, hand to hand, not one hand at the top thinking you're cool, not picking up your right hand and throwing the wheel because you'll cut the turn short. You'll end up on the curve. And then your instructor won't want to drive with you. I'm telling you this from experience. And when you look through my content and you see steering wheel or driving tutorials, look for those elements of proper hand placement, because I want to educate you and help you pass your road test, build confidence, reduce anxiety, because I want you to be successful. This is why I'm so passionate about this. Number 4, climbing the curb, perfect timing. Whether you are turning or parking or climbing the curb is an automatic failure. I just told you about this. It takes practice. I know we all get excited because you come into the corner, you check your traffic, and then you crank the wheel. If you crank the wheel, you're going to overturn. The front right tire will go hit the curb, go up over the curb, and it will literally pull the car to the side of the road. You'll hit a sign, you'll hit a building. We don't want to do that error. Those type of driving errors don't allow beginning drivers to want to drive anymore, because you're so full of anxiety, you're so fearful. Your instructor's like, oh my God, what happened? And you don't know, and I don't know, but I know. There are several things that cause you to do this. One, if you're going into your turn too fast, over 15, 17, 18, 20, you're going to sling the wheel. The rear of the car will rotate out to the left. Centrifugal force is going to pull the car out to the left, and you're going to go right up on the curb. We're getting ready to over-rotate or hit a pole and roll the car in extreme situations. I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want you to be in that situation. So you're saying steering is really easy. It's not. Because if you learn the wrong way, you're going to do the wrong way all your life until you have an accident, or until it's raining or ice or snow. And then you're going to steer wrong and you're going to flip the car. We advise that you don't book your appointment until you're able to parallel park 100%. I have some tutorials on this. You have to basically line up your car, reverse back, turn your wheels all the way to the right. The rear will go in at a 45 angle. When you're halfway past, you turn the wheel back. You have to practice this. You can't just do it 1, 2, or 3 times. You're going to have a tester. They're going to have a clipboard. Let's pretend this is my clipboard. And they're going to be grading you. You have to be able to get your vehicle into a 6 foot by 5 foot wide area and not go over the pavement marking lines or encroach on cones or hit the barriers of the sticks. You have to be able to master this within about 5 turns of the steering wheel. Look through my tutorials. I have some road test prep where I actually had a client who failed their road test, who contacted me And they said, can you help me? Yes. I helped him. We went through the neighborhood. We worked on right turns, hand over hand in, hand over hand out. Pretty smooth and consistent. We worked on reversing into driveways, backing in his driveway, backing in people's driveways, because you have to be able to back into a reverse park area. Then we practiced parallel parking. He was overturning the wheel. The car would back in really fast. You'll hit cones. The test is $75. If you need a car, add another $50. When you go there and prepare, you have to be ready to pass in your mind. He did not get the support he needed from his parents. We're not going to hate on parents. Parents have to work, and I understand that. So my job was to build his confidence, to reduce anxiety. So we practiced for about 2 hours. Him driving through traffic, making left turns pretty consistently, yielding. Him merging on and off the expressway. I'm sitting there. I want to see him check his blind spot, see him merge out, use the blinker. If you can do that without being prompted, you're going to pass your test. If you can't, check your mirror, blinker, turn signal, look over your shoulder without overturning, you'll get marked down. It's extremely important that you show consistency. You're going to be driving through neighborhoods. The speed limit is 25, but you might need to go 20. You might need to go 17. Reduce your speed. You should not be driving fast. You have to show vehicle control. You're coming up to a corner. I want to see you looking left, right, and left. And then after, I want to see you pull out into the nearest lane. And when I check the mirror, I shouldn't feel like, oh my God, we're about to get hit. Because you pulled out in front of a car. And that's a driving error. That's grounds for disqualification or failure because the instructor or road tester has to intervene. Okay? Failing to yield for cars or pedestrians. You have to be mindful of a gap or space. And you need to be able to judge cars coming from your left, cars coming. And once you time it, you should be able to pull into the nearest lane. It allows traffic to circumvent. You don't want to hold up the flow of the traffic. And when I see my drivers, my adults, my teens getting ready for the test, I prepare you for the test. You need to be able to make these maneuvers yourself. And once you're able to make these maneuvers where you pull out in front of oncoming traffic, if this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. We're talking about grounds for disqualification for the road test. What do you need to do to pass the road test? You need to be looking through my content because I'm a state certified driving instructor. I do driving tutorials, driving road test prep, in-car lessons, in-class lessons. You get a variety of driving snippets, shorts, 3-minute videos, 5-minute videos, 8-minute videos, 10-minute videos, downtown, wintertime, rain, snow, night, heavy traffic. I have a lot more. But this will give you insight. And I have some other things coming very soon where we'll be able to connect with you and help you. You have to yield for cars. Pedestrians are the most vulnerable. I want to tell you this right now. If you pull out in front of a pedestrian, automatic failure. The reason important to know that rights of every traffic situation. When driving, it is your responsibility to scan the road or sidewalk. A lot of beginners just look straight ahead. They look down the speedometer. They don't look left. They don't look right. I see cars coming. I see people walking. And I know in my heart, you're getting ready to pull out in front of a car. I'm going to have to turn the wheel to get the car to the side because we almost got hit. Your road tester, your parents, your older siblings need to be educating you in this. I can't do it all. I would love to, but you have to have that time by yourself where you're driving through the neighborhoods, making 14 right turns perfectly, making 14 left turns perfectly. You're pulling in your driveway and you're reversing out and pulling in front of your house. You pass your driveway and you reverse in and you pull in. You have to be able to do these things efficiently with the minimum amount of turns without becoming frustrated, without having extreme anxiety, because you will have anxiety when your tester is there. It's going to be you, your tester, and the car. And I want to see you pass this test. So I give you content of the actual road test. I give you content of drivers who are practicing for the road test. And I want you to be prepared for the road test. Bye.